Hello everyone, welcome back to the Wireless Communication and Network Convergence video series I'm doing for my class. This week we'll be discussing NGN broadcasting and security. In the first slide here, we have the frequency spectrum from the old and current era of television. During the analog era, the broadband spectrum was single-handedly dominated by the analog television, which spanned 328 MHz. Then as technology progresses into what is common today, the broadband spectrum can be seen to be unequally divided by three occupants. The first being the future digital terrestrial TV, which spans a mere 48 MHz. And it is quite small compared to the second one, which spans over 192 MHz, and it is the digital terrestrial TV. And finally, the last occupant of the broadband spectrum is the digital dividend, which spans over 112 MHz. The digital dividend is the amount of spectrum in the VHF and UHF bands that is above that nominally required to accommodate existing analog programs, and therefore might be potentially freed up in the switchover from analog to digital television. This freed up space can be utilized for next-generation audiovisual content providers such as YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, among many others. Due to the ability of the content providers to provide services directly to multiple platforms without a third party to monitor their content, broadcasting in general becomes an international and competitive market, which are difficult to control using government instruments. Moving on, I'll discuss about the convergence into IP-based network. IP-based network have been implemented in many things, and one example is in broadcasting convergence. As you can see, there are three items of focus when it comes to broadcasting convergence. The first is the enabler, or to be more specific, why we convert broadcasting convergence into an IP-based network. We convert in order to digitalize content, gain access to high-speed broadband and network, while also gaining access to multimedia devices. The second item is convergence of broadcasting and telecommunication. This is a tool for the production of many technologies, which include content, programming, storage, distribution, and display. The final item that we have here is the telecommunication operator. It provides content while the broadcaster provides content through IP-based networks, which converts the viewers from just hearing and watching, or in short terms passive, into gaining the ability to be seen by anyone, or in short terms, active. Next, in broadcasting, we have the convergent approach to content. The convergent approach to content can be divided into five main ideas of focus: the scope of regulation, effective competition insurance, advertising, public interest objectives for content, and spectrum allocation. The scope of the regulation is basically the range of regulations for broadcasting services, in which include plurality, cultural variety, national identity, and decency as the address social economic issues. Each state's standard of decency varies as the range of consumer differs. In the NGN era, content creation is not only limited to broadcasting institutions such as TV and radio stations, but they are also capable of being done by private groups or even individuals with the minimum amount of equipment and a steady network. Effective competition insurance can be done by ensuring effective competition, where everyone will be able to obtain equal access to content. Therefore, encouraging competition between broadcasting services and individuals on the planet. The government is capable of this by making sure that the customers are educated, by reducing switching costs and cutting down the bureaucratic process for newcomers. All of this will ensure satisfaction from both sides of broadcasting, be that content creators or content viewers. In advertisements. Now, in the NGN era, it becomes trouble due to the advertisements becomes trouble due to the user's ability to skip advertisements in modern broadcasting sites such as YouTube and Spotify. And next, the public interest objectives for content elaborates the shift from institutional supervision to the system-based supervision. The regulation should also consider the changes that occur in the supply of information and the programming. And finally, spectrum allocation allows the allocation for the digital divided range in which it is preferable that the authorities allocate the digital divided. Next, we have the NGN network security, which can be split into three main parts, which are the background, objectives, and the standard organization. For the background part, the network security in NGN is vulnerable to outside threats, and its IP-based nature involve open protocols. These threats could be solved from virtually anywhere due to the reachable attribute of the IP-based network. In addition, due to the general public's reliability of the Internet security becomes a top priority when NGN is in use. Hence, security becomes an important competitive aspect in the broadcasting industry. Now, the objectives of NGN network security are to establish an equal amount of the customer's freedoms, expression, and privacy. Hence, NGN network should be capable of providing a reliable and safe connection for its customers. And finally, the international standard organizations collaborate on this issue, and in which includes ITU, ETSI, ISO, IETF, and 3GPP. Now for NGN security issues. So direct or indirect attacks to network security will ultimately have an impact on the revenue of the broadcasting companies. The ITU Res X805 describes 5 possible threats of the NGN, which include destruction of a network, corruption on network assets, removal of information and assets disclosure, or unauthorized access to an information or asset. And finally, interruption when the network becomes unavailable and unusable. For cases like this, the ITU recommends security on infrastructure, service, and application layers. And in addition, there's also threats for VoIP, which includes viruses and malware, interception, and unidentified location during emergencies, loss of content, DOS attack, lack of system management, and power failure. Okay, thank you everyone for watching this video. Please tune in next week where I will discuss Introduction to Wireless Communications. Bye, have a good day.